So in this class, we are attempting Cambridge IGCSE May-June 2019 question 2. Remember, you can visit jadosconsulting.com to take the class that covers the topic we're solving. And then don't forget that you can always order for my study bag or my textbook, okay? You can reach me on the number displayed or pay into the account displayed. So quickly, we have question 2. Jade is a customer of Adi. On 1st April 2019, Jade owed Adi $440. They exchanged the following documents in April 2019. So 2019, April 4, check to settle account less 2.5% cash discount. April 12, invoice for goods $560 less 25% trade discount. April 17, debit note relating to some goods supplied on 12th April. List price is $120. April 20th, credit note relating to some goods supplied on 12th April. List price is $100. Then April 30th, we have statement of account. So they say required. Name the person who issued each of the following documents. In each case, suggest one reason for the issue of that document. So this is a question around source documents, okay? And we've taught source documents, okay, on jadosconsulting.com. So you can go there to take classes on source documents. So here, this is trying to test our understanding on application of a source document and their uses, okay? So we have to understand. So now the question here says debit note, okay? So we're saying, okay, who issued debit note, okay? Now you must understand something. There are two perspectives here. We have Jade's perspective and Adi's perspective. Now, based on this question or this scenario, Jade is a customer. So Jade is like what? A client to Adi. So Adi here is more like what? A supplier. So we have Adi supplying to what? To Jade. So in Jade's book, Adi is a creditor or a supplier or a vendor. In Adi's book, Jade is a client or a customer or a debtor, depending on how the transaction between them goes. So now they're asking us, they said we should name the person that issued the debit note. Okay, you must understand something. That to debit, what does it mean to debit? Okay, what does it mean to debit? To debit means to increase debt. Okay, that is, you want to increase what an individual is owing. So if an individual is owing you, say, 100 naira or $100, okay, and you have to debit that person, it means you want to increase from $100 to something. If you debit that person with another $20, it means you're increasing that value from $100 to what? $20. So you want to increase what the person is what? Owing. Or to what? To decrease credit. So what we're saying is that if someone is owing you, say someone is owing you $100, and you want to decrease it from 100 to say 80, you can debit that person with what? $20. So there are two scenarios here. To debit could mean that you want to increase what the person is owing or what someone is owing you, or you want to decrease what you are owing someone. So in this scenario, we must understand that debit notes can come from both perspectives, okay? But the idea is that there has to be an understanding as regarding the value of debit between the person issuing it and the person was receiving it. But let us flow with the question. But understand that in practice, it's in various perspectives. It's either you want to use it to increase what someone is owing you, or you want to use it to decrease what you're owing someone. But let us flow with this question. So who issued the debit note? If you look at the transactions, we have Jade being a customer of what? Adi. So what it means is that Jade is likely, not likely now, Jade is a debtor to Adi, and Adi is what? A vendor or a creditor to what? Jade. So now we've seen some transactions between them. Check was issued to settle what Jade is owing Adi. Okay, and then there's an invoice for goods. That means Adi supplied Jade some products. Okay, less than 25%. Now they say there's a debit note. Now the question is, what is likely to be the reason for the debit based on this question? Okay, the obvious here is that what? Jade is owing what? Adi. So in Jade's book, Adi is a creditor. While in Adi's book, Jade is a what? Debtor. And there's nothing here suggesting that Adi wants to increase the what? The debt of Jade. Okay? So the only option here is that what? Jade is going to what? Issue Adi with a debit note suggesting, okay, or notifying him of what? Of a reduction in the amount that Jade is owing Adi. So they're asking you now who issued the debit note. So the obvious there is that what? What do you have there? That is 2A. So the obvious there is that what? Jade is what? Issuing Adi a what? A debit note. What for? That's the next one. What is the reason? The reason, okay, there is what? To notify Adi of a possible reduction in what? In what Jade is owing Adi. Okay, so Jade owes what? Adi. So let's say an X amount. Okay, so now Jade is telling Adi that what? There's a need to reduce what is being owed to Adi by how much? I think the value there says $120. So basically, Jade is issuing Adi with a debit note. Remember, a debit note is issued to what? To either increase the debt of an individual, that is where the person is owing, that is an undercharge, okay? Or you can also issue a debit note to reduce what is being owed, okay? Owed to an individual. So in Jade's perspective, is issuing the debit note, okay, to reduce the credit of Adi. In Adi's perspective, he's receiving a debit note to reduce what Jade is owing him. So you have to understand that. So the next one, they said that credit note now, credit notes. So credit notes name the person issuing the document. So what is a credit note? Credit note in this instance is to tell you that there is an overcharge. When there's an overcharge, there's a need to what? Bring the amount the person is owing down. So we're saying that you want to, okay, reduce a debt. That's credit note now. Possible scenarios. You want to reduce a debt. Okay, someone is owing you. You want to reduce what the person is owing, maybe because there's an overcharge, or you want to what? Increase a credit. So what does that mean? It means that, for instance, if you're owing someone, okay, and then for some scenarios there's a need to increase what you're owing the person, there can be a credit happening there. So that being said, let us follow the flow of the question. So what is the possibility here? There's the question said credit notes related to some goods supplied. Who is supplying here? Adi is the one supplying. So you want to credit someone and say credit note relating to some goods supplied on 12th April. List price is what? $100. Okay, so who is likely to be credited here? Like I've given you the possible scenario, can go from both perspectives. So who is issuing the credit notes here? Okay, so remember in Adi's book, okay, in Adi's book, Jade is what? A debtor. Okay, Jade is what? A debtor. So if Adi is issuing a credit note to Jade, what does that mean? That means there's a possibility that Jade has been what? Overcharged. And what are the possible reasons for overcharge? Overcharge means that, or maybe if Jade returned some goods, okay? If Jade returned some goods, it means that what Adi is recording against Jade is more than what ought to be recorded. So in that instance, what will happen? Adi is expected to credit what? Jade. So you have to understand the scenario, the possible reason for what. I've already given you two reasons that can result to what? A credit. That is, you want to reduce what someone is owing you, or you want to increase you want to reduce what someone is owing you in form of debt, that's to reduce the debt, or you want to increase what you are owing someone in form of what? Credit, or in form of what? A vendor. So basically here we can say that what Adi is what? Issuing what? Jade a what? A credit what? Note. Okay, so what is the reason? Like I said, when there is an overcharge, you have to issue a credit note. So because there is a credit note relating to goods supply, that means that what? The obvious here is that what? Jade has probably returned some products back to Adi. Okay, so that means that in Jade's book, what Jade is owing Adi should what? Should reduce. Okay, and then in Adi's book, okay, what Adi is holding against Jade as a debt should also what? Reduce. So there could be an overcharge, and then there could be, in fact, overcharge can come as a result of what? Of returns. Okay, when the client is returning back to the vendor is expected to credit the what? The client from his what? Perspective. So remember, there are two perspectives here. Okay, if a customer or a client is crediting a vendor, it's expected that in the vendor's book, the vendor will be debiting the what? The client. You have to understand that perspective. So basically, Adi is issuing Jade a credit note. Okay, issuing Jade a credit note to what? To correct the overcharge due to the what? The returns, or to reduce what Jade is what? Owing in his what? Book. So the next question there. Statement of account. Name the person issuing statement of account. What's the statement of account? Statement of account is simply what? A statement or an expression, okay, of how an individual, okay, has operated its account with you for a particular period. So it can go both ways. At least I've experienced where we've had to send mails or send letters or calls to our vendors to send us our statement. That is a detail of what has transpired between us. And we've also had to receive calls or mails from vendors to send them a statement that is a detail of what has transpired between us. So it can come in both ways. But if we flow with the question here, we can say that Adi, which is supplier here, okay, is likely to send a statement to Jade because Jade is a debtor to Adi. Okay, so you want to tell Jade a detail of, or a breakdown of what has transpired between both of you for a particular period, showing how much J is owing. So what is likely to happen here is that Adi is what? Sending statement of account to what? To Jade. What's the reason? To show Jade, or to let Jade aware, or to make Jade aware of what? The detail of what transaction that transpired between them, stating the amount that what Jade is owing at that period of what? Time, or at that point of what? At that point in what? In time. Okay, so you have to understand that based on this question. But in practice, you can go, if anybody can demand for what? Statement. The debtor can demand, the creditor can what? Demand. So it's all about mutual what? Understanding. But if we flow with this question, the vendor is likely to be the one that will send what? Statement of account to the what? To the debtor or to the client. So Adi is in the position to send statement of account to Jade in this scenario. So that is it for this part. So the next part there, they said prepare the account of Adi as it will appear in the book of Jade for April 2019. Balance the account and bring down the balance on 1st May 2019. So what we're saying is that, there are two perspectives. We have the Jade's perspective, okay, and then we have the Adi's what? Perspective. So Jade is holding Adi as what? A creditor or a supplier. Okay. Adi is holding Jade as what? As a debtor. So in Adi's book, or in Adi's perspective, Jade is a debtor. In Jade's book, or in what? Jade's perspective, Adi is what? A creditor. So now they're asking us to what? Show, prepare the account. How will the account of what? Adi appear in the book of what? Jade. So basically, we must understand. We must what? Understand. We must understand that. We must understand that. That what? That Adi is a creditor to what? Jade. So let's prepare. They've already given us the account there. So this is Jade's what? Book. Okay. Now it's going to be Adi's account. So they've given us a format. So we're going to follow the format. Okay. So we have dates. So we have details. Okay. Then what we have there? Amount. So they just put dollars there. The next one here we have what? Dates. We have details, and then we have dollars, which is the what? Amount. Remember, this is a creditor's ledger, so you have to know your balancing. I've already taught balancing there. Remember what we say? Your assets have debit balances, liabilities have credit balances, expenses have debit balances, incomes have what? Credit balances. So this is from one perspective, okay? So from Jade's perspective, now Adi is what? A creditor, and creditors are what? Liabilities. So they have credit balances. So what's the balance? According to the question, they said Jade owed Adi $440. So we can come here, okay? 1st of April. So 1st April, what's the date there? 2019. Okay. So we say balance brought what forward? $440. Okay. So what happened? They said April 4th, check to settle account less 2.5% cash discount. So we know that Jade is owing Adi $440. And now on the 4th of April, Jade issued check to settle the account. So when you issue check, what are the entries? Remember your double entry. Go to Jadis Consulting to take your class on double entry. Okay, so if you issue a check, what do? You credit your bank and then debit your what? Your creditor or your vendor. Abi? So you credit bank, debit. Adi is the creditor here, so we debit. What's the date? We have the 4th of April. So we have 4th April 19. So there's a check which is bank, Abi, How much is that? What is even owed? 440, but they say with less 2.5% cash discount. So less. So that will be 2.5 over what? 100 times 440. So what do you have there? So what do you have? So we have 2.5. That's 11. I'm seeing 11 there. So 11. So 440 minus 11. That's 429. So basically, what will happen? You're crediting so this is more like our bank account now. Bank account. So we're crediting bank. So that'll be 4th April 19. So we're going to say Adi. How much? 429. Credit bank, debit Adi. Okay, but there's a discount. So remember in your cash book, when you pay and there's a discount, we call that what? Discount what? Received. Okay, so that means there's a discount here on the 4th of April 19. So there's discount what? Received. That'll be 440 minus 429, which is 11. So that means, what do we have here? 4419. Adi, how much? 11. So this is what we call discount what? Received account. Remember, what they ask us to do is this. Okay, so this is not part of the requirement. I'm just trying to use this as as an illustration to explain what I'm trying to say. So this is not part of the what we are asked to do. This is what we're asked to do, but I'm just trying to use this to buttress my point. So that's it for the payment and the discount receipt. So the next one there says 12th of April, invoice for goods, 560 naira, $560, less 25% trade discount. So what we're saying here is that Adi invoiced goods to Jade, and then there was trade discount of 25%. Remember, in Jade's book, Adi is what? A supplier or a vendor. So here there's an invoice that was sent for goods worth $560, less than 25% trade discount. So what do we do? So we say, remember, when you make purchases now, from Jade's perspective it's purchases, from Adi's perspective it is sales. So now Jade is buying from Adi. So Adi is more like the supplier or the vendor or the creditor here. So we have 560 worth of product, then 25% trade discount. So we have 25 over 100 times 560 over 1. So what do you have there? 25% of 560, that's 140. So if you take 140 out of 560, what do you have there? Okay, so we have 420. So remember, from Jade's perspective, it is purchases. So what do you do when you purchase on credit? Debit your purchases or inventory and then credit the supplier. The supplier here is Adi. So what's the date? We have 12th of April. So what do we have here? Let's say what? Purchases. Okay, so that what? 400 and what? What do we have? 400 and what? 20. All right, so that's the what we have there. So the next one, there's a debit note relating to some goods supplied on the 12th April. List price is 120. So what do we have there? Debit note. What is debit note there? Okay, so really there's a debit note that has been sent to Adi. Okay, so what that means? It means that what Jade is intending to reduce the credit of Adi. Okay, and then it is pointing to 12th of April. Okay, and then we have 20th, the credit note relating to some goods supplied on 12th of April. So that means 17th and 20th, they are pointing to the same transaction date, which is 12. Although we can have various interpretations to this, but let's flow with the question. So we've concluded that what Jade sent a debit note and then Adi is sending what, a credit note. So what does that mean? So it means that Jade sent a debit note notifying Adi to debit, then probably Adi reviewed and then sent a credit note, okay, of 100. So basically we concluded that what, the reduction on Adi's credit should be what, 100, okay. So since they are both pointing at the same transaction date, we can conclude that what they both agreed is $100 reduction on the what, price. So what we have there, so we have 20th April 19. So we say what, debit what, charge, how much, 100. But remember that the total invoice price of 560 came with a trade discount of 25%. So trade discount, okay, reduces the purchase value from Jade's perspective. So if I'm buying something for 20 naira, I was asked to pay 18 naira. So I'm paying 18 naira. So what we actually take into account is 18 naira. Okay, so the 2 naira reduction there really does not have a record. Okay, but because there's now what, a debit charge to reduce the invoice value. So it means that if I am losing credit, then I must also what, gain the discount. So what I'm saying is that from Jade's perspective, okay, he got a trade discount. So if he's going to reduce the credit, he must also lose the trade what, discount. Okay, so Adi's perspective, Adi will gain the discount. Jade's perspective, Jade will what, lose the discount. So basically we have 100. So if we go by 100, there's already 25% trade discount. So we can see 25 over 100 times what, 100. So that will give us 25. So 100 minus what, 25 should give us what, 70 what, 5. So that's the conclusion. So debit charge will be what, 70 what, 5. Okay, so what other, no other transaction. So the next one, the 30th of April, there was what, statement of account that was sent to Jade there. Okay, because we concluded that Adi is the one that's going to send a statement of account to show Jade what is being owed by what, Jade. Although I've told you that, you know, either ways both parties can request for a statement depending on what one to be at. So let's balance up here. So we have 440 plus what, 420. This is 860. And then what do we have here in the debit side? The credit side and the debit side. So we're going to say 30th of what, April 19. So we have balance carry down. Okay, so we have 440 plus 4, that's what, 860. So 860 minus what, 429 minus 11 minus 75. So we have 345. So we have 345. So when we add up, we have 860. So we have 860. So on the 1st of what, May 19, excuse me, 1st of May 19, so the balance brought down will be what, 345. So what this means is that by the end of April, which is also the beginning of May, Adi is being owed 345 by Jade. That is in Jade's book. Okay, Jade is indebted to Adi to the tune of 345, or Jade is owing Adi 345. So that is it for that. So the next question there is that they say Jade, excuse me, Jade's year end on 30th April. She provided the following information. Okay, for the year ended 30th April 2019, we have cash sales, credit purchases, cash purchases. At 30th April 2019, total trade receivables 28, total trade payables 2350. So Jade allows her credit customer 28 days credit and is allowed 30 days credit by her credit supplier. So on 30th April, Jade calculated that the trade receivables collection period was 29 days and the trade payables payment period was 35 days. So they're not asking you, calculate the trade receivables collection period for the year ended 30th April 2019. Round up your answer to the next whole day. Okay, so what do we do? All right, so the way we calculate what? Calculate trade receivables collection what period. So what they are saying here is that they're asking you to calculate the number of days it will take. Nowadays, we take J to collect, cash from what? Debtors for selling on what? Credit. So what do? So we have trade receivable balance, or what you call trade debtors at another period over what? Credit what? Sales times 365 over 1. We're calculating in days. So according to the question, what is trade receivable according to the question? Trade receivable according to the question there is 2,800. So we have 2,800 over credit sales according to the question is 29,600. 29,600. So times 365 over what? 1. So what do you have there? What do you have? 2,800 divided by 29,600, okay, times 365. So what do we have there? We have 34.5. Okay, 34.5. So you can just call this 35 days. Okay, let's call it 35 days. Okay, so what did they say there? They say suggest one advantage to Jade of the change in the trade receivables collection period. Okay, so what is the advantage? Remember, Jade, okay, allows her credit customer 28 days. Okay, and his own calculation says 29 days. But now we are saying 35 days. So what is the advantage of this change from 28 days to 35 days, or from 29 days to 35? So let's say from 28 days to 25 days, what it means is that what? Jade will have to wait for additional 7 days. 28 plus 7, that's 35, to collect money from credit customers. So what's the advantage? The advantage is that what? It's what? Strengthen relationship between Jade and his what? Credit customers, because they want to do business what? With him, because it's helping the cash flow of the credit customers. Okay, so if it's taking additional time for them to pay, it will help them. Okay, so an advantage to Jade is that it will help what? Strengthen his what? Business relationship with what? Customers. They would want to do business with him more. Okay, so the next question says suggest one disadvantage to Jade. What's the disadvantage? Ordinarily, Jade is calculating 29 days to collect money, or 28 days that he gives to them. So now he's delaying his own cash receipt from credit customers. Okay, his own cash from credit customers. So what we're saying is that what? Instead of 28 days or 29 days, it's now taking 25 days. So a disadvantage that will affect his cash flow. Okay, it is delaying money coming to the business, so that might affect what? The day-to-day running of the what? Of the business. Okay, so that is one what? Disadvantage. So the next one there, they say we should what? Calculate the trade payables period. So what's good? Trade payables what? Period. What does that mean? The number of days to take J to pay is what? Credit suppliers. So what do we call that? We say what? Trade payable balance over what? Credit what? Purchases times 365 over what? 1. So what is the trade payable balance according to the what? Question. Trade payable is 2,350. So we have 2,350 over what is the credit purchases there? 30,300. 30,300 times what? 365 over what? 1. So what do we have? 2,350 divided by what? 3,300. Okay, times what? 365 over 1. So I can say 28.3 there. So 28.3. Should we take 29 days or 28 days? This 3 is not to 5, using an approximation, but Let's take 28 days. Let's just assume. Let's say 28 what? Days. So that means it will take Adi 28 days to pay what? Credit supplier. So they are now asking. They're asking. State whether trade payables will be satisfied with the change in trade payables period. Give one reason. Okay, now we have 28 days. Okay, now the question is, would the trade payables be satisfied? That's the creditor, will they be satisfied? Already, what J is allowed, creditors allow J to pay in 30 days. They're allowing to pay in 30 days. Now he's paying in 28 days. So would the trade payables or the creditor, will they be satisfied? Yes, they will be satisfied because they are saving additional what? 2 days to get their money. So what I was saying, instead of waiting for 30, they are getting instead of waiting for 30 days, they are waiting for 28 days. So it will take them 2 days earlier to get the money from Jade. So they will be satisfied. Okay, they will be satisfied. So so they're not asking that we should give reasons for the answer. So trade payables by our calculation is 28 days, but suppliers allow him 30 days. So if we look at the change, creditors will be satisfied that they are getting their money early. Okay, so it's a yes to the answer because creditors will get their money on time. Okay, so that is it on the question. So we've been able to look at some source documents, okay, with which we're able to look at it from the perspective of the vendor and perspective of the client or the customer, okay, and then we looked at various illustrations to explain or portray that point. We're going to look at accounting ratios around collection period and payment period. So if we've given you knowledge of some sort, you can support our course by your free will donations, okay, pay into the account there, or you can reach out to us to let us know how you can be of help to us. If you have questions, you can reach me on the number displayed on the screen or drop questions in the comment section. I'll be there to reply you with the right answers. Thank you.